to the lab again. Beat. Nice. Ooh, I wasn't even looking. I was looking too far ahead. Come on. Hello there, Toaster. Hope you're doing well. Oof. Oof, death. I just gotta get comfortable with playing wide. I'm doing fine. Sometimes the lasers are a little suspect. Epic for good luck, Phantom. But I mean, well, sometimes the red laser guys don't die. And they shoot the red lasers down the right, and it makes it a little tight. It's more than manageable, but it is tight. So it can lead to problems. Oops. That's why I mean it's a little suspect, like a little risque. So sometimes the red lasers are a little suspect. See, like, look, that time the red laser guys died, and they didn't start shooting down the right side of the stage, but sometimes they don't die. I'm a little tired. I went to bed a lot later last night than I was hoping to, but we're going to curb that with enthusiasm. Surely. You should not go for that gap. I just gotta condition myself to playing wider. At least I'm getting back that back to where I want it to be. I guess that wave 1 still ends up being a little fishy. Like, there's 2 different variations I'll hit, but... least I'm living them. This attack is surprisingly not good on the eyes. Like, this spinny red part right here is a little trippy. You're supposed to kill the dudes on the side. What am I doing with this attack? I've not struggled this much to it in a while. I wonder about something. I really don't. I doubt it. But I wonder about something. I have to remember to do it. I wonder if there's a merit to standing still while they explode? Nah, it couldn't be. Otherwise, why would people clear them? I think never mind what I was thinking. Because, like, the spirits obviously shoot aimed towards you, but, like, I'm wondering... I don't think they obviously shoot directly at your... Yeah, they don't shoot directly at your ankle. It's kind of varied. I think. Yeah, I think there's too much variance. Because, like, they shoot your general direction. But I looked at a dude on the left there when he exploded, and his arc was notably to the left, I feel. Yeah, being closer is something that took me a little bit to learn, but I did eventually pick up. I just had a thought that, like, because they're generally aimed towards you, I was like, I wonder if you could do this. And then I thought about it, and I was like, people would just stand still on the bottom if that was the case, and not bother killing the spirits. Place where Rainbow B2B, the piercing B. So here's... Here's my only issue with that question about Rainbow B piercing being... Oops. Rainbow B piercing being useful. Is it even? Like, of course the piercing obviously does something here, but like... You know an attack where the piercing does something? Or in Spell 1. Or in Spell 1, the piercing actually does a number of things on. It can be very nice. Rainbow A is just better at the shot, still. Even when the piercing does something, Reimu A's just damage just deals just better for it. Like, it kills in basically the exact same time or something. Or slightly quicker, I think. So it just kind of ends up being the same. So I don't know how exactly how it relates to this, but... Yeah, look at that spread on that bottom guy. He shot way far to the left. Wah. But not compared to that. I mean, I could compare to Marissa A or Marissa B. And I believe they fall in the same category. I'm not knowledgeable enough about Reimu C. So, I can't really comment much on that. And Marissa C is obviously going to be worse, but... That's the one thing Reimu B has going for her. That's like the number one thing she has going for her, is that she is not Marissa C. To be fair, that can be said about every shot type in this game, but I don't have to kill him on the second wave. I keep doing that. I just kind of instinctually need to kill the spirits, and I don't have to. You know, spell what is easier. I believe that. Again, I haven't tested. The only test I ever did on Orin spell 1 is with Reimu A. I just drifted way too far. I have a fair bit of knowledge on Reimu A because it's popular. I have knowledge on Reimu B, obviously I play it. Marissa A and B I have a bit of knowledge on. Reimu C is... like, I understand how the shot works. I really don't know how, like, well its damage works. Because it's a little tricky to use, theoretically. And, like, certain attacks, it'll be easier or harder to use it optimally, and I don't know how it looks in those situations. So I really don't have the best gauge on Reimu C. And Marissa C, about the only thing I know is it sucks. It's just garbage. Okay, let's take a break for that. Nope, keep practice going. Why am I safe flight? Except Oku and maybe Ghost Wheels. Nice. How's her shotgun? Does she have a good shotgun on Reimu C? Or maybe a better yet, just not a bad shotgun? Because it's got enough of a spread that I would believe it, but I don't have... I've played Reimu C in this game for a total of about... That was disgusting. For a total of about 2 minutes combined, probably. And Reimu C is not necessarily the most popular, so I haven't really seen that much Reimu C either. Damage cap card. I mean, I guess one of its advantages is that you can kind of corner sit. But even then, that's someone who plays homing in every game. Even if you can go away from her, you usually don't want to. But I mean, I guess if there's theoretically an attack where the corner is, like, a lot safer than, like, otherwise, then potentially the damage loss is worth it. Damn, 2 for 2 on Demon Brave. Bro's literally goated. Just gets a Tori. I mean, yeah. This game's pretty high-low when it comes down to a lot of it. There's not a ton that's, like, difficult, but not, like, high-tier. Or, I wouldn't call this game necessarily super high-tier. What just happened? Why did I just lose this? Excuse me. Upgrading an machine broke. I'm pausing the game because my frame rate dropped. What is going on? My computer is also currently running on limited sleep. I mean, even a game like EOSD, like the difficulty of Patchily greatly varies the runs a bit. Like, even if she's not even the hardest part of the runs in general, like Remy's brutal, but the difference between them does shine. I'll still stand by. It's the Patchily difference is the one reason why Reimu homing isn't the worst shot type in the game. Because Reimu homing gets a very nice and relatively cozy Patchily. What I'm saying is, like, the differences between the few games that have alternate, like, bosses, per se. Like this game, I was comparing to Scarlet Devil, where it's like, even in a game with, like, the highballers such as, like, Remy and Sakuya, who are brutal, the differences between Patchily is a big deal on the run. So I said, it's the only reason why Reimu homing isn't the worst shot type in the game. Because it does get the best Patchily. Now, it's not a great shot type in the game, but it definitely isn't the worst. Dude, these demon braids are sick right now. I'll leave it to this. I'm actually doing well on the Patchily boss, but God forbid I do the mid boss right now. This is what happens when you spend too much time practicing the more enjoyable, difficult attacks, and not as much time practicing the more tedious attacks. How many games even have alternate, like, enemies? Depending on who you're playing as. That'd be Touhou. Why am I down here? Why am I even practicing that attack? I don't have to. This would be, what, Lotus Land, Touhou 6, Touhou 7. Although Touhou 7 only has slight variation, because it's only, like, 2 attacks. What's the T attack? No, I was talking about practicing, like... To be honest, or in Mid-Non 2 from stage... What am I doing? From stage 4 isn't even that tedious. But... I was more referring to just, like, random stage portions and shit from, like... Stage 4, for example. Where it's kind of, like, just annoying to practice, because you don't want to. But you should. That type of thing. Things that are annoying to practice. Oh, but yeah, don't get me wrong. They 1000% do matter. As a Reimu homing player who played Touhou 7, I know very well that Lunasa is garbage. Oh boy, Lunasa was a pain in my ass. I would have much rather had either of the other two, but you know, sometimes you gotta deal with it. But the difference between 2 attacks and like 3 or 4 attacks is definitely noticeable. Yeah, DDC has a stage 4 boss swap. You got the hidden star thing. This game, obviously. I'm not counting the Phantasmagoria games. Never phased that out, didn't he? Okay, let's do my favorite attack. By my favorite, I mean one of my least favorites. It's not my least favorite, though. It's up there. But it's kind of a mixed attack, where I kind of like it, but I kind of hate it. Mostly because it bullies me. You know, as annoying as some of these attacks are, I should just be grateful that I'm not fighting Chen and Alice anymore. Nice. I gotta be careful, make sure I'm at the bottom. when the third wave moves, and then go. So otherwise it can get a little awkward. Ooh, I could definitely imagine that Reimu C has a terrible time with this attack, now that I think about it more. Oof. Because, like, you theoretically can shift your way through the entirety of that attack. But you probably don't necessarily want to. That's what we call an awkward bait. Oops. At least that's one, like, sort of good thing with Reimu B, is that if your movements aren't that wide, your homing shots, even if they are weak, at least still do damage, even when you swing right, so, like, you're always getting something in. Verb. What are the average kill times on UNRR? Oops. For the other shot types. It's like, theoretically, Reimu B does get a bit of a like here, because when you're to the side like this, you can still deal something, but even then, a lot of the other attacks, like Reimu A and Marissa B, still have good spread. Even Marissa A has good spread. This game really does have a notable difference between the good shot types and the not good shot types, doesn't it? Well, it was about 37 seconds. Okay, so it ends up about the same. Or that's like the same interval. Reimu A is probably about one interval earlier. Because like Reimu BL averaged between 37 to 40. Which is always going to kill at basically like the same juncture because of how this attack works. Unless you really mess it up. Like, that's a 38.6. Sometimes I kill it a little earlier, sometimes I kill it but a second later there doesn't really matter. It's if it's like 2 to 3 seconds. This deck is fun when you're not in a run, and there's really not any pressure. It's actually a pretty fun attack. Same thing with Petaflare. Okay, let's get 3 more taps. Ooh, I hesitate between going left and right. Not be too hard, 90 FPS isn't slow. Who would have thought that increasing the speed of a fairly difficult attack, or of a pretty difficult attack by 50% makes it worse? Now do PDH at 90 FPS. Some patterns will affect more. Like, yeah. You know, 50% of 100 is a lot more than 50% of 10. But, you know, the point still remains. 50% is still a big increase. Even if the difficulty of the attack isn't necessarily the speed, still increasing the speed is questionable. I don't even know if I got the amount of caps. I said let's get 3 more. I don't even know if I got 3 more. I just kind of played and I was like, yep, feels good. Like, sometimes I'll sit down and, like, practice, like, a specific thing a lot. But sometimes I just like to sit down and do a little bit for the sake of, like, refreshing and, I kind of lost my train of thought. I guess what I'm saying is I do 50 sets very sparingly. I think 50 sets are good when you really need to practice something. But like something specifically, like binging it a ton. But I also think it's a little... Like, the problem is if you do something over, 50 times in a row, you're probably going to have a good streak, especially if you're, like, good at, like, decent at the attack. But you're also probably going to hit a dry streak at some point. Like, it's difficult, especially in the hard attacks, to remain focused for that long in a row. And I feel like sometimes if you repeat the same thing over and over, which sometimes I need to tell myself that I need to take a break from that, but you'll just kind of hit a wall where you did your little bit. Well, I just like... Damn it. Well, I just like to go through and, just play the attacks that I deem as, like, the harder parts of the run. And maybe anything that I'd, like, specifically want to practice, like today was a bit of, mid-non 2 on stage 4 and the portion afterwards. Although I practiced the tiny bit of that off-stream, actually. Like, I'll drop 50 sets. In fact, I've dropped 100. I've dropped 100 sets of, Atswalk multiple times. I no longer do that. Unless I, like, maybe really want to. But I'm at a point with Catswalk where it's like, I don't feel like I need to drop 100 sets. Like, I just kind of need to do, like, a little bit of practice. Like, when I was at a point where I have, like, a 5% cap rate on Catswalk, I'm like, time to sit down and practice the crap out of this. But now that, like, especially on, like, on runs, I have, like, a decent cap rate. Check consistency, I think. Yeah. Well, actually, I think more personally to me, I think... Because doing something in practice is always going to be different from doing it in a run. I think the bigger thing to me is muscle memory. Is like... Because most attacks, even the random bullshit like this, have, like, a game plan to them. Like, I have what I'm trying to look for. And... First of all, I think it's good for learning an attack if you don't know the attack in the first place, to sit down, binge it a ton, and be like, I'm gonna figure this attack out. But also just, like, getting the instincts on an attack. Of like, okay, I know, like... Where you go into attack and you don't have to, like, actively put your brain out and, like, hyper-focus on everything, when it's like, you know what you're trying to do, and I think the better way to put it is you're comfortable, like, looking for the dodges. I don't know, maybe that's not the best way to put it, but... Just doing an attack enough that you feel... That even under pressure of, like, a run, you can sit down and trust your instincts. Why would you do that? And also, if you do an attack enough, you get used to, like, the traps. Of, like, oh, this, of just what not to look for. There's another big help. So I think comfort is just a... Save rating. Yeah, that sounds... I can't say I've heard that term before, but... That sounds appropriate. Like, that's the only way I was able to beat, that's the only way I was able to beat Touhou 7. Is on Yuyuko. It's like, when under that pressure during Sumizome and RB, like, just being able to rely on the fact that I've done it hundreds of times, and just kind of muscle memory my way through it. Because otherwise, oh, why am I dropping frames? Okay, I dropped like 3 frames. Because otherwise, you're just gonna poke in situations like that. And I mean, I still do. Don't get me wrong, but like, it's... I'll never understand the damage of this attack. And the reason I'll never understand it is because I'm too lazy when I'm not streaming to, like, actually compare damages. One of these days I will. And I would have done it yesterday, the day I don't stream. But it was my sister's birthday, so I was busy. Sometimes she gives you lucky gaps, and you just have to not throw it away. Oh! Double KOs are the saddest thing in the entirety of Touhou. Feels pretty nice, thank you. It's just merely the result of playing a lot of Touhou. Ooh, these long kills. I guess I am offsetting myself a little on that last wave, which delays it a little bit, but... like there, but that brief period of offset probably only shaves off like 1/10 of a second. Mess me up. I mean, back when I once CC'd this game, I practiced this attack a fair bit, and I had a cap rate of what, like 3 in 300 approximately? So it is one that really, really brutalized me. But I really like it, so I sat down to practice it a lot. Come on, I gotta stop doing that. I hate when I get out and I just run into it. But I also think it's the most important, like, attack to practice in this game. For, like, for long-term success, too. Not just, like, because obviously I'm trying to get the LNN in this game. But, like, for future purposes, too. It's like, I will play games that have worse attacks than this. And this is the most high-level dodging I can get that compares to a lot of other higher-level attacks in other games. And getting comfortable at this will make my life a lot easier when it comes down to learning other games' difficult attacks. Hence the 2,400 attempts in this. Ooh, that's nice. My best cap rate on this when I was keeping track over long spans of time was 32 out of 80. But I also, shortly after that, kind of stopped doing massive sets of this attack. And mostly just practice. Like, mostly whenever I sit down nowadays, it's just, like, practice it until I get, like, a handful of caps that I feel happy about, and then I, move on. I also do it as the last practice. I also do it as the last practice I do in a day, because I need to be warmed up before I do it. This is not a good attack to do when you're not warmed up. What is this caps walk rate right now? I feel like it's pretty good. I've gotten some very lucky waves, I'll admit that 100%. Ah, yes, there's nothing better than starting Wall K with that. Do yourself a favor and start with, start Wall K with Doremi non-1 practice. Honestly. Oh. Go with the guy. Yeah, I haven't really been. Eh. What do I want to go to? I'm at, what, 584? Let's hit 590. Now I'll go do runs. I'm surprised I'm feeling in the mood for this attack right now. Like, normally when I'm not on the most sleep, I feel like this attack is really a struggle, but... Never punished for getting slightly under 7 hours of sleep, I guess. As I immediately died. Ooh, I could have... Yeah, had a safer line there. There. About everything else. So sometimes it happens, you know. I mean, Doremi was cruel. Even during 1cc practice, I spent a long time practicing Doremi. Like, her spells are not too bad once you route them, but even then, like, it was kind of awkward with them. But, like, those nons are just... Like even non 2 and 3 are not nice. At the very least, when I played it, like... I'm definitely better than I was before, so maybe it wouldn't be as bad, but they're still, like, not good spells, like, nons. Especially because they take 5 years to kill. That's my biggest Doremi problem when I once see that game. The fact you can't even, like, bomb your way through her. It's like, oh, you want to bomb her non-1? Guess what? That's like 3 bombs. Very unique. Yeah, I did like them. Like, I thought they were fun attacks. I would have probably liked them more if they died 20% quicker. But, you know... Sometimes you gotta take what you get. I actually like a lot of Wall K. A lot of its late game is enjoyable. light game that's not Murderous Lilies. Like, I really like Clown Piece. Stage 4 is a kind of a breather, but I really like Stage 4. Stage 6 is mostly enjoyable, with a few caveats to that. It's just its early game is so miserable. Ooh. Best part of Cat Talk is you get to listen to this theme. Okay, 590. We'll hit 600 Cat Talks tomorrow. Time to go die to stage 1. You ever think that, like, Zune had a really bad, couple of years? So he decided to take out his stress on, by making DDC and LOL-K. It's like, oh, here's 10 Desires. Oh, 10 Desires is a very friendly game. Yeah, I know UFO is UFO, but like, oh, here's 10 Desires. It's a pretty friendly game. Then you got DDC, which honestly starts off really friendly. And then, bam. Whatever Kagero is. It's not like you're done there. Bam. Ben or Yatsuhashi. And then, bam, you got Seija. And then, bam, you got Horny Path. And then, bam, you have 50% of the shot types being, like, pretty good. / broken, even. And then the other half be dog shit. And then in, well, okay, he was like, okay. I know I made, like, the mid / late game pretty brutal last time. Mostly the mid game. So fine. I'll put it in the early game this time. And then you got whatever the hell stage 1, stage 2 is in LOL-K. And he was like, okay, I'm in happier place now. I'll make Hidden Star. Which is mostly tame, you know. The backup dancers, especially for, like, if you're not, like, really, really good, are kind of cringe. And Snowman plus Okina Final is pretty cringe, but definitely not at the game's definitely not as questionable as the last two. I don't care if stage 1 is good for consistency for the LNN. It's a pain in my ass. Listen, fighting Seiren made me want to commit violence. Okay. And that wasn't even Ringo. I really like Ringo's spells. I think Ringo spells are fun. I just think Ringo nons are good. You know, that's a common thing. That's a common thing in, okay. Oh, the spells are pretty fun. The nons leave something to be desired. But the spells tend to be pretty fun. Except Seiren Spell 1. I forget what the hell that spell's name is. I hate that spell. I like Ringo's theme a lot. It's a really good theme. My biggest problem with Ringo is I was like when I played the game, I was at a skill level where I was like, I'm good, but like, I feel like I should be able to do these nons well, and then the nons just shit in my face, and I get really tilted. Like, at least, like, Doremi and Clown Piece, like, when I die to them, I'm like, okay, it feels better. If on Eagle, yeah. Even dying to Ringo Final feels okay. But, like, dying to Ringo's nons was tilting. You know, that was a little suspect. That was never in question. I calculated that from the beginning. I hate the LNNs. I should not have gone for that gap. That was really tighter than literally it had to be, but, you know. Sometimes you make up your mind of, like, that's the gap I'm going for, and then you already committed. Okay, hi, Yugi. Excuse me? Like, I'm inside that bullet. I don't know why, but I'll take it. Okay, I hope the kitty cat doesn't bully me. Trust your instincts. That was a little disgusting, Orin. Nice, there we go. No, I didn't go up enough. Or down enough. Excuse me? That was like the perfect split of awkwardness. Damn it. Oh well, what are you gonna do? Leave it to Fog Labyrinth to always let me down. Although it was still good, I finally did the middle part of that stage properly. Again. Okay, spider. Fish? What? Okay, spider. Take two. I don't want to risk that. I don't want to risk that. Apparently, it's still risked it. Bro. I'm falling apart here. I'm losing my mind. I'm gonna pretend this game is DDC and start spamming shift for damage. There's some weird damage tech for Reimu B, was there? If we're talking about DDC, I don't know if she has any. If we're talking about this game, I don't know if she has any either. At the very least, I've never heard it. Shotgun deals more damage. I've never heard about it. Not saying it's impossible, but... Where's my double damage clip? Clips inside the boss, deal triple damage. Okay, next reset is a P-break. Because realistically, Reimu B doesn't have shotgun. Because her damage spread is so tight anyway. Now, there is a pseudo-exception to attacks to parts where there are multiple enemies. Because if you're shotgunning, all the homing bullets will hit her, where if you're not shotgunning, some of the homing bullets will stray and hit other enemies. This is mostly notable on, like, Orin Spell 1 and Stage 4 Non-2. Mid-Non-2. So, it doesn't deal more damage than it should at play-in, but in a situation like that, obviously you're theoretically getting more damage because the homing bullets can't get distracted. But otherwise, I've never heard of any other tech. Certainly not the likes of EDC Reimu A shift spamming. So what you're telling me is it's a dice roll. I don't have my dice, it's in my backpack. Damn it! Actually, I have another dice right here. I just got a 6 out of a 6-sided die. That means I'm about to blow up Parsi. If you're standing directly at the x-coordinate of pi times e squared, and follow it logarithmically down the y train, or down the y-axis, you can deal 0.02% more damage. With a 10% chance to do a critical hit for an additional 0.5% damage increase. why do I do the things I do sometimes? Okay, I said next 3 steps pee break. Give me a sec. Okay, urine is empty. By urine, I mean bladder. Water is refilled. Your final. I guess it'd really depend on, like, the numbers behind it, right? Are we talking, like, pixel perfect, like, windows? Are we talking, like, wider windows? Are we, like, if it's potentially attack specific? And how much of an increase are we even getting from this, right? You know, if it's something specific for, like, a 5 to 10% increase, how worth it is that even? If it's, like, really difficult to pull off anyway. But probably don't bother. No, I'm going to dig into the game's code. Me, who is not a programmer or coder or anything, I'm going to start digging into the game's code, and I will find my answer. It's the pixel. Oh my gosh, this is turning into PCB all over again. I'm looking for the pixel. The golden pixel. It's a coaster. I had heard that Reimu homing and PCB theoretically has a similar thing, where it's like depending on like positioning of like being focused or unfocused, there's some kind of like damage like increase you can get. And I was like, I'm gonna find this golden pixel. No clue how wide or anything it was, but you know, we're playing for it. The whole reason that conversation came up because I was looking for a family team because Lotus Land Yuka Final was being weird because he'd play it and sometimes he'd just kill it. Sometimes he would just die quicker or not as quickly. And it was really inconsistent despite looking like he's doing almost the same exact thing. And I was comparing side-by-side examples, and then he was talking with some people who were like, look at the code for the game. And it's like, there are very specific vertical positions where the bullets don't overlap and hit at like different parts on the boss. And like, that would cause increased damage. And it was notable because on that attack, it's like the difference between a wave or even 2 waves. And then he mentioned, because they said something like that, like, exists at least to some extent for Reimu homing in PCB, and I was like, I must find the legendary pixel. Lo and behold, I never found it. Never could catch any notable example of it. Never heard a word about it. Rainbow A golden pixel for Yomu spell 1 2-wave kill. I must find that pixel. You must make Hellgod Sword easier. The cheese. It's also so difficult to test things like that, though. That's the problem. Like, you can't just move around. Because even if you get the pixel for, like, a frame or two, who knows if it's even a pixel wide, or how wide some of these, like, ranges are. Like, say you get it for, like, 2 frames, it's like, are you really gonna be able to tell the damage difference? I guess the... lines, yeah, exactly. And even then, it's like, okay, how realistic is even setting up that type of thing? Like not even like setting up a pixel, like a pixel alignment thing, but like even what tax could you perform that on? Like pseudo consistently, anyway. I'm gonna sneeze. Oh, it's right there. No, I couldn't get to the mic, so I just had to go away from the mic. It was a long shot. Yeah, Hellgod Sword is definitely one that I could see that being useful for. Because there is a good period of time before anything happens. But I was more meaning, like, broadly. But I'm also past Reimu A on PCB, so I don't care. I'm just too good for pixel strats, honestly. Like, good, like, who needs it, dude? Honestly, just get good. Get good and die to Alice 50 times. Honestly, on runs, I struggled more. I feel like I struggled more with Yomu Final than I did with Hellgod Sword. 3 cons and 7 Hakus was really rude to me. Rat. Yeah, I feel like Lunasa, Non 2, and Yomu Final are definitely ruder to me, on average, than Hellgod Sword. That's also because I hated Lunasa, Non 2. That nog was brutal. Holy shit, we're on stage 3? I did like Yomu Final 2. It's a fun spell. It's just, it bullied me a lot. Is kind of my biggest complaint about it. Personally, I liked Hellgod's Sword a little bit more. Maybe that's because I was a little bit better at that spell, but... They're both... I mean, the Yomu fight, even the easier spells, it's a pretty fun fight, broadly speaking. Like, I generally like all of her spells. Come on! Now I got so bullied out of the corner. Meh. So I couldn't kill the dudes on the right. Oh, that's a hitbox. You know, attack I really like spam from PCB. That was a good one. That's a really well designed part of the game. One of the best designed parts of all of Touhou. If you play a lunatic for too long in a row, it starts to turn into a lunatic. That's what I'm turning. One of my favorite occurrences in PCB was the, I think it was the Sakuya players. I got like 1 or 2 people who tried to convince me that Merlin was harder than Lunasa. In terms of their first 2 nods. Can I, like... play? Oh, it's a... Yeah, I can respect that. Also, the Touhou players who come in here when I was playing LoL K and tried to convince me that Clown Piece is harder as a whole on normal than she is on Lunatic. Not just, like, the one spell, but, like, as a whole. Yeah, and I mean, that's fair. Like, to point out that's, like, specifically, of course, spell, why would you do this to me, girl? Okay. It's like, is spell 1 harder on normal than it is on Lunatic? Obviously. But I feel like the cause of it, or one of the bigger causes of it, is that, like, some people talk about how, yes, that, you know, there is a very obvious candidate for, hey, this is, you know, definitely harder on normal than it is on Lunatic. And also the fact that, like, you know, Clown Piece is well renowned as being the normal killer. Like, it kills people. Like, people who are not good at the game, and they are not. Okay, I shouldn't say not good, because that is also pushing down. People who are not Lunatic players. People who are your normal people who play the game and expect a moderate difficulty that isn't going to make them pull their hair out, you know, and they get the Clown Piece, it's like, what is this garbage? Especially because you can't just, like, bomb your way through Clown Piece because she has 5 billion HP, because lol K HP bars exist. And so Clown Piece is known for bullying players. And then you see people, because, like, especially good players, like, Star and Stripe is brutal, don't get me wrong, but, like, for the most part, it's like, especially the spells, and, like, the spells on Lunatic, you know, if you're really good, you've routed them out, like, they're really smooth, generally, in how you play them. Even the Nons, like, even if Non 1 and 2 are pretty scary, they're really smooth in just what you do. Like, they look really smooth and clean. And I feel like that comes off. Like, you go watch, like, a normal player playing Clown Piece on normal, and you're like, this looks awful. Speaking of awful. And then you look at, like, the Lunatic player playing, and most of the time you'll see someone who's really good and who can make Clown Piece look like, you know, one of the run-of-the-mill Stage 5 bosses, who's difficult, but, like, not anything absurd. She's no Sakuya or Sho. And then it's like, oh, okay, and then you draw comparisons. So, I think it comes from a place of, like, you know, logic to an extent, but I think some people also really feel like they need to vindicate themselves with things like this. Well, that's also one thing. It's like, you can appreciate its difficulty too, but, like, you know, before I like really played any of Touhou, you know, I can, like, appreciate its difficulty to an extent, but, like, when I'm sitting there and, like, I see one of Yatz's runs, one of his LNNs, and, like, I look at this and it's just like, it looks so clean, right? When you see a perfect run, it looks so clean. So it's really easy to, like, disillusion yourself with, like, like, with how difficult it really is. It's like watching a speedrunner, right? Similar concept. You can watch something and be like, oh, that you know, and he makes a bunch of, like, he clips through a wall or something, and it looks, oh, that looks easy. And then you try to do it, and it's like, oh. People are full of shit. A lot of people are. Also, some people aren't even genuine or curious when it comes down to things like this. Some people just say it to provoke reaction. They say things to provoke reactions. Of course, you always gotta be careful about that. You're muted and unmuted for 3 times in a row for the same thing? What are... Are you talking about, like, Discord as a whole? Or, like, a specific channel or something? As a whole? Weird. Domicos, I thought we already told you this, but you can't spam porn in unporn servers, okay? Good grief. The absolute dog shit picking up context. Yep. Yep. What would tell you that one? That's weird. You mean people as a whole? I mean, to be fair, you can't even blame Discord's bots at being bad at picking up context when people are really bad at picking up context, especially online. Van out. Typing too many racial slurs, unbelievable. I just. I don't need the specific details, but like, what were you ranting about that, like, got them to be like, you're muted temporarily? Also, what do you have to do to get yourself to do that? Like, I've seen some people on Discord type some pretty questionable things before, and, not get muted like that. So I'm kind of curious, like, how do you... Wait. Hold on, I'll read in a second. I got shrine visits. Girls? Huh? Ah, so is it like... I don't know what I was about to say. Like, I had a train of thought, and then I was like, no, that doesn't make sense. So never mind, and then I lost whatever. I lost everything. Basically, what you're telling me is that Discord is a dog shit service, and it's, you know, only relevant because it's, like, the only one of its kind. I almost went the wrong direction on this laser spell. I almost acted on instincts. He just went to the left. I was like, wait a second, this is the wrong lasers. Not now. Huh. That's true. Like, I mean, it's like a lot of things, right? There are, you know, there are more versions that exist, but like, it's so much like the dominant. Right, it's one of the biggest problems with, like, YouTube and Twitch, right? Is the fact that, like, you know, could they be done better? Absolutely. But the problem is, there's never really been any great competitors. And, like, they just can't possibly get the popularity. They just can't get the popularity, really. Yeah. The only reason I got Discord is originally just for my friends, like my brother and some of our friends. And then I've expanded slightly. I mean, I'm in TRS and like my own, just for the sake of that. But that's all I have it for, really. There's a couple other like servers I'm a part of, but like I don't do anything in them. Like there's the Katsuki Records fan server that I'm a part of, but I only use that to getting notifications whenever a new song comes out, new song/album comes out, or B, to get access to the A-list site for all the Touhou doujin music in the world. But I don't interact in servers, generally speaking. I don't like that. So let's play it safe. Well, it's also, like, one issue, and this is, to be fair, this is, like, a personal issue. This isn't, like, necessarily a broad issue. But it's one thing with, like, let's do the Twitter, I'm sorry, X, to, like, Blue Sky thing, right? It's like, Blue Sky was like, oh, here's this potentially better alternative. And my issue is, it's not that, like, I think it's a better or worse alternative, it's just, like, I don't like Twitter as a whole. Not because of, like, who runs it or anything, I just don't like it. I don't like social media. The last thing I want is another one. Like, I don't use it. So it's like, you can make another one. I'm not gonna go to it because I don't want to use it. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think there are others that exist. I don't really... I've never really delved too into them. I only know Blue Sky because it's, like, the name that makes the rounds a little bit. So it's the name that's hit my ears before. But regardless, I just don't use any of them because I'm like, I don't know. All my people interaction is either my friends in real life or me with you guys while I'm streaming. Like, sometimes maybe I look around for, like, memes. But that's more just meme hunting than it is, like, people interacting. Like, Discord, to me, at this point, with most of the Discords I'm in, tends to be more of a notification app than anything else. Of just, ooh, there's an update to this thing. Yeah, that's fair. Also, to like the previous context, I love that. It's like, yeah, someone said something 7 years ago. Let's bring it up now. It's definitely really relevant. Let's get them for it, right? Especially out of context. But if you go back 7 years ago, the only thing you'll ever find is, like, me talking to my friends in, like, the Discord. And if you look at that, you know, there's probably things you could take out of context, I assure you. Lazy ass to actually roll a custom email and prep a website. What's a prep email for, like, I don't know, having backup accounts or for something? What's the Prepos website? What is the purpose of that? Change the line, then yeah. And some people talk shit, it's their nature. If I ever find myself getting fired up on something like Discord or anything here, my response is I'll just go play something and then I'll come back to it a few hours later and see if I care the same. The answer is usually no. I see people talking about something I don't like, I don't know. I generally don't like people that much, so I just tend to avoid them. Private projects, Why am I blind? Twice in a row? I'm... What's in my mind? Well, it's also the, you know, speaking of 7 years' time, it's also for a lot of people, like, you know, 7 years ago I was 15. Right? Like, I'm not that old yet, you know. 7 years ago I was... You could go back and find, this is probably a good 7-8 years ago, approximately. You could go back and find me posting a very lengthy rant of why I didn't like Xenoblade X at the time. Because I loved Xenoblade 1, then X came out, and I did not like X originally. And then I made a very lengthy rant about how much I did not like it. And, by the way, approximately, currently right now, Xenoblade X is top 5 favorite games of all time. But I have a very lengthy rant about all my issues with that game. That's probably 7-8 years old at this point, if I had to fathom a guess. Okay, I'll give it like one more shot or something. But I'm losing my sanity with this for the day. I'll think what I got and move on soon. could move on after that, but neat. This is the run right here. Ready for this? This one. For sure. I would never lie.
Why would you perfectly line those up? You have the entire screen to shoot. She just perfectly lined up the hole I was in.